Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the client survey within the provider portal. This is likely the most time-consuming part to fill out in preparation of a review. Recall, the client roster has already been set up, as you see here. The IDs have been automatically assigned. The team can decide how much of the first name, all of it, part of it, that they want to fill in, but they are limited to only 2 letters for the last name. Now, the client roster has to be set up before you can enter into and fill in the client survey. So first, a set of instructions will pop up. You're asked to respond to a list of questions for each enrolled client. You can select all clients on this page or a subset of clients before moving to the next page, which will list the questions. Once on that next page, you can respond to the questions organized by category, like healthcare, or move through as you wish, selecting up to 5 questions at a time. So you hit OK. So the default will have everybody selected. Why would you deselect and then just select specific subsets? Well, sometimes teams go about filling this out in their own way. For instance, if the team is utilizing individual treatment teams and there's somebody assigned as a primary for that given person, the primary may know a lot about what services the individual is getting and different other circumstances. So it may be where the team lead asks that each primary logs in with the secure password and then only fills out for their subset of individuals they're working with. Similarly, if nursing staff have split up individuals that they're serving within the team, they may choose to come in here and fill out for the half of the team, the clients that they work with when it comes to the healthcare questions. So we will leave all of them checked and hit next. So if you're familiar with eTMACT reviews prior to eTMACT, you may recall that this data was collected through an Excel spreadsheet. Each of these questions reflects the column that would have existed in that Excel spreadsheet. So nothing has changed. It just is organized as this form that you'll be interacting with. So if you would like to go as in the order it used to be, you just start clicking. You are limited to 5 at a time. See how that just turned light gray? It's telling you that you've reached your limit of how many questions we can populate in and answer at once. Or if I hit clear, if you rather go by group of questions, you can select one of these tabs up here. So for instance, let's say we're going to complete 4 the substance abuse related questions. eTMACT chose the questions that's relevant there, and you hit go. So now the questions are up above for A and B. We're logged in under the team's login, so we can see the partial names of the individuals served and then go through filling this out. It's always great if you're, especially if you're using partial names, you maintain a key in which you easily can see what the full names are and the corresponding ID that eTMACT assigned. So with that, Letitia would be going through, or whoever, and start filling out whether somebody has a co-occurring substance use disorder and what stage of change are they in. Now, if you're forgetting exactly what we're asking for when it comes to stage of change and early and late, everywhere you see the green eye icon here, that's an information button you can click. And up comes the definition. Similar here, when it comes to responding to whether or not the individual is receiving integrated substance abuse services from the ACT team, and you want to understand that more, you can click this button and review what's being considered. So as Letitia, or whomever is filling this out goes through. And as you can see, if you indicate early or late stage of change, you're saying that the person does have a co-occurring substance use disorder. And therefore, the follow-up question is, are they receiving direct services from the team in relation to substance use? And so you can say individual services, group treatment, both individual and group, or the person's receiving services from a non-ACT. You're only allowed to pick one of these. This individual will suggest isn't, so we're leaving it blank. Okay, so we have this section filled out and we'll hit either save in home or select more. If I hit save in home, it's going to take me back to this landing page. So we'll go back into the client survey. This will come up every time. Next, you can see that this information is in there. And we hit select more. So let's go to psychiatric and medical. So a team that has more than one psychiatric care provider on the team will populate in all the options. So for this team, we just have Dr. Carol Long, and you also will always see non-ACT. So if an individual was, say, receiving psychiatric services from a psychiatrist who is not part of the team, you would indicate non-ACT. Again, like before, information buttons are there to provide additional information about what we are looking for. And at times, you will see additional text boxes come up, such as when you say somebody is receiving an antipsychotic, depot medication, an injection, there'll be a prompt for the medication name. When you see the question about receiving oral psychiatric medications, there's a drop-down box where you can indicate whether the person receives those on their own, through natural supports, residential staff, and if through the ACT team, how often. Okay, so we can see that we have filled out this page so far on the different types of medical psychiatric services, medication supports. So let's go and select more. Demographics, not quite an accurate name for all of the questions under here. It's kind of a catch-all about the circumstances people may be in. One question is asking about whether the person is currently under an involuntary outpatient commitment or conditional release. Another is asking whether the person has a representative payee, legal guardian assigned, and the number of contacts the team had with the client's, natural supports in the past month. Again, you can click the icon to read more about who's included here and who's not. One thing to see for this page is that throughout the client survey, there is an opportunity to hit set all as default. Let's take a look at what that does. All values will be set to default in the relevant columns, and if any data is filled in, it will be overwritten. What this does is, in circumstances that tend to be less usual, like the majority of the clients being under a commitment or having a guardian, instead of having you go through and click no throughout the whole roster here, you can say set all as default. So it automatically defaulted to indicating that Nobody had a legal guardian. Nobody was on an involuntary outpatient commitment or conditional release. Nobody had a payee. Now, the next step, though, is to update this because there probably are some individuals who it's yes, true for, and to go through and capture the contacts with natural supports. So as you can see again, if you indicate yes for representative payee, you're going to be prompted to indicate, is it the agency, meaning your agency or team is operating as the appointed payee, a natural support such as a daughter, father, so forth is in the payship role, or is it an independent organization or individual, somebody who's contracted, oftentimes paid in that position? So in this case, we're going to say an independent organization. And if you're aware, you're asked to indicate the disbursement amount or how often. So it's not so much the amount, it's how often the person receives their money/check from the payee, if you're aware of that. So in this case, this organization provides weekly checks. So that is what the client survey is all about. So don't forget, you have these green eye icons to learn more about the type of information we're looking for. There are opportunities to do set all defaults when it's pretty clear that the majority may be a no or negative type response. And then it's easier to click through and update. We appreciate the specification when a text box opens up. And you can save and return home.